that shit with you.
To the brick?
Don't ask me the name of the small pub, but it was standard fare with a rustic aesthetic. Lots of smoke, a crowded bar, and a few people scattered around the round wooden tables. I'm not sure how many pints I had at this point, but I'm certain it was one too many. I ordered another. I stood swaying at a table, looking down at a collective of friends, and we were all laughing. Most of my friends had sweaters on, unkempt hair, broad grins, and one or two of them always seemed to be in the process of manufacturing a spliff. As we talked, a spliff materialized in front of my face, so I accepted it, and took a couple hits before I said my goodbyes. It was early, maybe 5 o'clock in the evening, when I made my way onto the street where I lived. It was a small market street that cars were prohibited from driving on, and both sides were lined with shops and restaurants. The buildings were tall and slender and seemed to tower inward over the road. The world was spinning as I waved to a Moroccan shawarma vendor I knew, and his smile was pleasant with a trace of concern as I stumbled past. What had I eaten? My stomach's contents began to protest their captivity, but I was hoping it was just the beer talking. I pressed on, stumbled backward, and fell on my ass. I looked up, laughing at some onlookers, and climbed back to my feet, staggered off to the side of the road, and used the building for support. The bricks felt rough, but the stony texture grounded me, kept me up. Damn food and beer grew more restless, and I vomited against the wall. I wasn't feeling bad and was quite jovial despite my condition. I'm almost home. I can do this. My dreads hung down in front of my face, and my eyes had watered as a result of the vomiting. I took a couple steps, hands still against the wall, felt the spasm of yet another bout of the inevitable. This one was a liquid cascade of beer and fine chunks of riotous ex-contents. I stood there for a moment, sucking in air, wiping something off my chin when I realized my hand was no longer against the reassuring texture of a brick building, but rather it was against a cool, smooth surface. I wiped my eyes, pushed my hair up out of my face, and slowly lifted my head. Glass. My hand was against the glass of a large window of an Italian restaurant. Well, a large and suddenly not so clean restaurant window. Staring up at me from the seats of their booth, I looked into the faces of a man, a woman, and 2 young boys. Clearly a family out for dinner. The vomit clung to the glass between us, but was slowly losing its grip as it slid down the window. The man had a gray sweatshirt on, bearing some logo, and while I could not tell where they might be from, the type of restaurant they were at was for tourists, not locals. I had a feeling they were Americans, but I could never be sure. Maybe it was their demeanor or some subtle nuance that I picked up on, but who can say? They looked like any other family out for dinner, except this particular family sat with jaws hanging low, no expression of any emotion on their faces. I did not see horror, I did not see anger, sadness, or even the remote possibility that maybe they thought it was funny. They shared the look of people seeing a sight that should not be seen, especially while eating. I smiled and gave them a thumbs up and headed for home. My work here was done.